Hey, welcome back to InfoGamer. For this video, we're going to be revisiting our tutorial series on the basics of the Photon.Pun plugin. Now, there's an important concept that I haven't yet taught all of you, and that is on creating your own observable components. Now, we've talked about the Photon Transform View, which is of itself an observable component, and the Photon plugin has some other observable components, such as the Photon Animator View. But what if you want to be able to create your own observable component? That's what I'm going to be teaching you in this lesson. So here I have one of my more recent projects that I'm personally working on open inside of Unity. Now I'm not going to be able to show you all of the gameplay for this project at this point in time because it's still in the early stages of development. But what I can show you is that at this point in time it's just a simple ball rolling game like a snowball, and we can leave tracks in the snow. And just a quick shout out to PurePlay for their awesome tutorial series on how to create realistic tracks in snow. If you want to learn a little something about shaders and how to create this awesome snow tracks effect, then I highly recommend going and watching their series on how to do this. I'll leave a link to their tutorial series in the description below. Now, when talking about creating your own observable components, I would put this concept right up there along RPC functions when it comes to the importance of this concept in creating multiplayer games. Creating observable components makes it possible for our clients to periodically synchronize variables and function calls across the network. This concept is super helpful when it comes to synchronizing a player's position or a player's rotation across the network. But luckily, the Photon plugin has already provided us with the Photon Transform View component, which does just that. But there might be other scenarios in your game where you need to synchronize a variable or a function call at a consistent rate. And so for this game, we do have a Photon Transform View that's synchronizing the ball's position and scale across the network. But another thing that we are synchronizing across the network that the Photon Transform View cannot synchronize is the size of the tracks that we are creating. That way, as our ball gets bigger, the tracks we leave behind get bigger as well. And so you have RPC functions which are really good for sending messages across the network that only need to be sent every once in a while or when there's a certain event that happens in your game. And we have observable components for variables and functions that need to be synchronized a lot more often. So now that you know the difference, let's get into the code. So here I have my draw track script, which does most of the functionality for putting the tracks in the snow. And to turn this script into an observable component, the first thing that we need is to include the using Photon.Pun namespace. The next thing that we need is to make sure that we're inheriting from MonoBehaviourPunCallbacks. We then need to make sure that we also include the IPunObservable interface. Once we have this, the next thing that we need are the variables that we want to synchronize across the network. And for this script, the variable that I will be synchronizing is my brush size. So I have this public float called brush size. Once you have your variables created, we can then scroll down and create the OnPhotonSerializeView function. This is a public void function, and from what I can tell, this function should be spelled exactly this way. We then need two parameters. The first one is a photon stream called stream, and the second is a photon message info called info. Inside this function, there's two main parts. The first part is where we are sending the information across the network, and the second part is where we are receiving that information. So to send the information, we need to create an if statement, and we need to check if stream.isWriting equals true. If this is true, then it means that we are sending information that we want to be synchronized, and this will be true if we are the owner of the object the script is attached to. Inside this if statement, we want to send the variable that we want to have synchronized. To do this, we call stream.sendNext. We then pass in the value that we want to have synchronized, and so I'm passing in my brush size. To then receive this value on the other clients, we want to have an else statement. Inside this else statement, we are accessing our brush size variable and setting it equal to stream.receiveNext. And we want to cast it as a float because that's the data type of our brush size variable. Now, a couple things to note. It is possible to synchronize more than just one variable at a time. And so let's say I had a vector3 variable, and we'll just call it position. If I wanted to synchronize this variable, I would just add in another line where I call stream.sendNext, and then I would pass in the position variable. Now when we receive these messages, it's very important that we receive them in the same order that we send them. And so it wouldn't be proper for me to try and receive the position variable before I receive the brush size variable. Although this doesn't throw a compiler error in our script, this would probably throw a runtime or a logic error in our game. And so I would want to cut this out and paste it in after our brush size. Another thing to note is that you can execute functions and other lines of code inside these if statements. And so I've added in these debug messages right here. But only the local client will execute what you put in this if statement, and only the remote clients will execute what you put in the else statement. Now just to prove to you that what you put inside the if statement will only be called on the local client and what you put in the else statement will be called on the remote client, I thought I would add in a little addition to our debug statement where I'm getting the component of Photon View from the current object that this script is attached to, and then we're outputting the view ID. This way we're going to be able to see exactly which object each of these debug statements are being called on. So I'm going to save my script and we'll go back to Unity. Now there's one more thing inside Unity that we need to do before we build our project, and that is we need to add our newly created observable component to the observed components options in our Photon View component. And so here I have my player avatar, and on this object I have a photon view, and then I have all the observable components that I'm trying to synchronize. I have a photon rigid body view, which is similar to the Photon Transform View. I then have my draw track script, which is right here, and I also have my avatar controller because there's another thing that I'm trying to synchronize. But to add an observable component, you just click this plus sign, and that'll add another field, and then you select the component that you want to synchronize and drag it into that field. And so here I'm now observing the draw track script twice, and so I'm just going to go ahead and remove the second one. But without doing this, your observed component will not synchronize across the network. So now that we have all of that set up, let's go ahead and build our project. I'm then going to click play in the standalone, and I'm going to click play in the editor. I'm then going to click quick play, and that'll load us into the multiplayer scene. I'm then going to go back to the standalone and click quick play. And so now I'll go back to the editor and I'll open up our console window. And here you can see I have two debug messages. The first one says I am the local client, and then we have our view ID, which is 1002, and then we have another debug message that says I am the remote client, and then we have the view ID, which is 2002. Now let's go look at the avatar objects that we have in our hierarchy. So here we have our first snowball avatar, and you can see that the view ID is 1002, and this object is currently being controlled locally, or in other words, that we are the owner of this object. And so here it says I am the local client, and the view ID is 1002, which matches the view ID of this object. You can also see that this debug message is being written to our console quite often. We already have over 1,000 of these debug messages. But our other message has only been outputted twice, and that's because we're currently not moving our objects, and our objects are only synchronized when there's a change in the values. And so let's now select our second snowball avatar, and we can see that the view ID of this game object matches the view ID of our second debug message. And this object is not being controlled locally because we do not own this object, and we are not the local player for this object. Instead, we are the remote player for this object because it is the standalone that is the local player that owns this object. But now let's see what happens when we move our snowball in the standalone. Here you can see that we're now receiving a lot more messages in our editor console window for the second debug message. And that's because the value is now changing, and so the message is being synchronized across the network. Now that's everything that we're going to cover in this lesson on how to create your own observable components using the Photon 2 plugin in Unity. Now just a reminder, this concept is very important when it comes to creating multiplayer games. I would put it right up there with the RPC functions. And essentially, creating RPC functions and observable components are very similar in what they do. The only difference is how often they do them. And so you use RPC functions when you have a value that you need to synchronize, but that value only needs to be synchronized every once in a while. Whereas you use observable components when you have something that needs to be synchronized a lot more often. And so RPC functions can be used for something like updating a scoreboard or updating a character selection, and observed components can be used for things like synchronizing a player's position or even a player's health if their health is constantly changing. Now, if you liked this video and you found it to be informational, make sure that you give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, then leave them in the comments below or join our Discord server and receive help from our community. And finally, make sure that you subscribe to our channel so you can be up to date on all our latest videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.